Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Utility Sports. Today, we're taking a look at the NBA yet again. They are making a big change. It's already taken effect in some places, so we're going to be talking about that here on the channel. Before we jump into today's video, I want to urge you guys to hit that like button if you've been enjoying the content here at Utility Sports, and also hit subscribe if you are new. It would mean a lot for us to have your guys' support. Now let's jump into the topic of today's video. The NBA is changing the basketball. Yes, you are reading that right. The basketball is going to be different next season in the 2021-2022 season than it has been for quite some time. So that is a really big storyline to follow because it could have some real ramifications. Moving forward here, the reason why they're doing so is the changing of sponsors. Wilson has become the official manufacturer for the NBA in a multi-year partnership beginning in the 2021-2022 season. In years past, it has been Spalding. The Spalding brand was the one representing the NBA and manufacturing the basketballs for the NBA. And there's actually a really big storyline around Spalding as well that we're going to be jumping into in today's video that maybe you guys did not know about that happened a few years ago. But Spalding has been doing the basketballs for quite some time. However, Wilson was the original manufacturer of NBA basketballs. Wilson was the first one to manufacture basketballs for the NBA on a partnership agreement before, and then after they lost their partnership, Spalding jumped in for quite some time, and now Wilson in 2021-2022 season is taking back the rights to be the official manufacturer of the NBA basketball, and it looks pretty good, honestly. The ball looks nice. You can tell the texture is a little bit different though on it, with some of the grip there around the Wilson logo specifically. Also, they have an anthracite outline around the Wilson logo, so you're looking at a different looking ball, which we'll jump into what it kind of looks like comparatively later. And this is not the first time that there has been a change made to the basketball. In 2007, Spalding had transitioned to a fully synthetic ball, and it was made out of a microfiber composite. Here on the screen you can see my mouse. This was the basketball right here. This was the synthetic ball, and it was an absolute disaster. Several players, including stars, spoke out against the new synthetic ball, and David Stern made the change without really consulting players as much, which was really problematic because, hey, the players are the ones touching the ball, using the ball, trying to score with the basketball, handling it, passing it. The ones touching the basketball didn't get to try out the basketball before it became the NBA's official basketball. That is clearly a problem. So let's go ahead into some of those testimonials here. Steven Jackson was playing with the We Believe Warriors at the time, said right off the rim, when I first started gripping it, I didn't like it. It felt like plastic. Not a good review there from Steven Jackson. He said this after his playing career when he was on The Jump with ESPN. Then Ray Allen, who was a star in the league at the time, playing for the Boston Celtics in his first year there. They ended up winning the NBA championship that season after some adjustments to the league rules. He said, every player I've talked to is in disagreement with the ball. Clearly emphasizing that he himself did not like the basketball. One of the best shooters of all time. Here on the left, you can actually see him handling the new synthetic ball. You can tell here because the lace doesn't actually go to the edge of the ball. It makes a little wrap here. So that's how you could tell if it's a synthetic ball in a picture or not. And Ray Allen was against the basketball, did not like how it felt. Then Mark Cuban commissioned the University of Texas at Austin to actually conduct a study around the new basketball compared to the old leather basketball that the NBA had been using through Spalding. And that study found erratic, unpredictable bounces with the new synthetic ball, and also discovered serious issues with texture and consistency when the ball became wet. They referenced that the rubbery texture of the ball became very slippery when the ball had sweat on it. That is obviously a very big problem for a 48-minute basketball game in the NBA. There's going to be guys sweating, getting the ball a little wet, and you're losing control of it. Also, bounces going left, right, not bouncing consistently. Also, the ball would bounce a little bit lower than the normal leather ball. So there was a lot of issues with the new basketball when it came to real testing. And for some reason, the NBA did not actually get these tests done throughout the preparation to incorporate the ball into the NBA. David Stern then on December 11th in 2007 retired the new basketball. He got rid of the synthetic ball. Here again, you can tell that this is the synthetic ball because look at the laces here. It does not go all the way into the corner like I'm saying. It ends here and then rotates, curves back in. That's how you can tell it's a synthetic ball. And it did not last. December 11th, stuck for about 3 months from the start of September. to the middle of December here at December 11th of 2007 is when the ball finally got retired. Interestingly enough, the Boston Celtics went on to win the 2007-2008 NBA championship. Maybe if the synthetic ball didn't get retired, maybe they don't because of Ray Allen's distaste for the basketball. Interesting storyline there, but nonetheless, Spalding dropped the ball literally with the synthetic ball, and David Stern did not do a good job incorporating it, which brings us now to another ball that we see a lot of impact on NBA players, Olympians specifically, when they're playing overseas with the FIBA basketball. There's big shooting slumps that happen. Damian Lillard, the latest example of that. He really struggled actually overseas playing in Tokyo with the FIBA basketball. It's a different feel. This one's cut into quadrants, as you can tell. It's got a very unique lacing pattern here along the side of the ball. And it's also got a different logo on it. So the ball itself just feels different. It's kind of got more of that close texture to what the Wilson ball looks like than the Spalding ball as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. So Wilson versus Spalding in terms of this basketball, the NBA has done a lot better of a job, in my opinion, regulating this process. Both the Wilson ball that is going to be brand new for this next season and the old leather Spalding ball feature an 8-panel configuration, whereas the laces here go in and meet in the middle here. That's 8 panels there. Also, they feature the same exact leather. They get the leather from the same place, which was really, really key for the NBA to ensure that the ball feels fairly similar for the NBA players. And they also follow current performance specifications. A lot of legislation went into the CBA and the rule book here for the NBA, covering the basketball and how it needs to feel and play for the players and follow certain performance specifications. And Wilson is following all the ones that Spalding had to follow in recent years. Wilson as well has worked with both the NBA and the NBPA, that is the National Basketball Players Association, for those who do not know, to develop and improve the new basketball through evaluation sessions. Again, a phenomenal step forward compared to what the Spalding synthetic ball had happened, where NBA players weren't playing with it before he got introduced into the NBA. Wilson has already had players working with the basketball. There's also another thing I'll talk about a little bit later on in the video. And Wilson's also hired advisory staff additions such as Trae Young and Jamal Murray. I know that they've also added some WNBA ones as well, but more specifically in this video, we'll focus on the NBA. Trae Young and Jamal Murray, two really good players, two guys who are going to handle the ball a lot, used to having the ball in their hands. That's really, really good for Wilson to be working so closely with guys who are going to be pounding the rock, really spending the most time with the basketball, because they are going to be really, really key for Wilson getting the best feedback possible when it comes to the basketball. So here is a side-by-side picture comparison. You can tell the Wilson ball, slightly different texture than the Spalding ball, and the Spalding synthetic ball here again with those curled laces. These two are a lot closer to each other than the Spalding synthetic ball. This Wilson ball will not have the ramifications of the Spalding synthetic ball. We do not need to be worried about that at all. I think this ball is a lot nicer. As you can tell from earlier on in the video, I do have the Spalding NBA game ball here. I do not have the Wilson one yet. It is up for sale on the Wilson website. Maybe I'll put a link to that in the description for you guys if you are interested in checking those balls out on the internet. But here, looking at the Spalding ball, obviously a very nice texture. The exposure here from the video might be making the ball look a little bit brighter than it is in the picture, but I guarantee you this is the actual ball that the NBA was using. Now they have transitioned to the Wilson basketball. I will be getting one of those in the short future, so maybe I could do a little bit of a review on the channel of those if that's something you guys are interested in. But the Wilson ball does look just a little bit different. Of course, a different logo on it does change kind of the feel of the ball a little bit when you're catching with your fingers on the logo. Also, you're looking at maybe a little bit slightly deeper laces, not too much though, and maybe a little bit of a different texture on the surface of the ball. What are my concerns? Some players may adjust easier than others. Every single player is different. Every single player when shooting the ball feels a little bit different. Not every single player hated the synthetic ball, I'm sure, but a vast majority did. But here, some players might not like the new Wilson ball. It might take them a little bit to getting used to. I know myself, I prefer using Spalding balls over Wilson balls to begin with. So there is a little bit of that bias from each player on which basketball they like to dribble with, which basketball they like shooting, feeling more comfortable with. Also, the bounce of the ball might be a little bit different. They might bounce a slightly different height, which impacts a lot throughout the course of an NBA game. If the ball bounces just a little bit differently, maybe some players have struggled struggles rebounding the basketball. Maybe some players have struggles dribbling the basketball. I don't think it's going to be a drastic shift, but I do have a concern that it'll be slightly different. The nice thing too, this Wilson ball has already been used. I talked about earlier on how I would mention this later on in the video. Here it is. The Summer League has been using the new Wilson basketball, and the draft combine used the Wilson basketball. So some of these young guys have already gotten exposure to the Wilson basketball, and we have not heard any complaints at this point. And for the most part, some of these young kids probably don't know the difference because they haven't used the Spalding NBA ball yet officially for an NBA game. They had all been using the Wilson ball, but in Summer League, we've had new guys in there, but we've also had some guys who are veterans playing. Michael Beasley, for example, is in there. We haven't heard any complaints yet about the Wilson basketball. My assumption is it does feel a little bit different. You can definitely tell too, looking at the logo here, the Wilson logo does appear textured. This one is not actually textured at all along the Spalding logo. So there is quite a few difference between these basketballs, and I do have a little bit of concerns that maybe it takes a couple months to get used to for NBA players. But with repetitions, this ball will not be the disaster like the synthetic ball, in my opinion. I think the Wilson ball will work out well, and it'll be a nice partnership between Wilson and the NBA. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the difference in the basketballs, and let me know if you guys are going to cop a Wilson basketball. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the very next video.